mula sa Asian Community Development Council. Ito ang FIL-AM in Focus. Mondays at 12 noon, right here on PHLV Radio.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat and welcome to FIL-AM in Focus, a program brought to you by the Asian Community Development Council or ACDC, where we dive into critical issues, challenges, successes, and opportunities that impact the Filipino-American community. Ako po ang inyong host, Edelweiss Solano. In today's episode, we'll hear the inspiring story of one man who turned his dream of becoming a U.S. citizen into a reality. Wyko Salvador was born in the Philippines and raised in the beautiful city of Manila. In 2008-2009, his family moved to the United States and eventually settling in Las Vegas in 2015. With the help of ACDC, Wyko was able to get assistance with his N400 application with a lawyer reviewing his paperwork. All for free. So we're thrilled to have him on the show. So welcome, Wyko.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, kamusta ka today?
I'm doing very, very well. You know, it's just a week off of Thanksgiving and it's December, preparing for Christmas now. So there's a lot of festivities planned, a lot of good things to come for the end of the year.
Yes, and holidays. Ang bilis ng panahon. It's gonna be like Christmas in a few days.
Right, and it's gonna be 2025. What's it, like 4 years after COVID already?
Yes, oh my goodness, right? Well, I'm happy to hear that you're doing well. And what do you do, by the way, Wyko?
Oh, so I help my clients really navigate the really mystifying world of finance. And so what we do is we do a lot of like workshops and guidance to help really plan for our clients long-term or short-term financial goals.
Oh, that's great to hear. And maybe that's we'll talk about it more on another episode. But could you share us your journey from the Philippines to the United States?
Yeah, of course. So I was like Weiss said, I was born 2001, and I didn't really get to move over into the U.S. until I was around 6 or 7 years old. And really what happened is my father got a student visa to study over here to become a nurse, and we really just bounced around. So what happened was we stayed in California with some of our cousins who lived there at the time. Then we lived over in Colorado, which are both very beautiful places. I mean, you know, California and LA, such a bustling city, right? But then we went over to Colorado, Grand Junction. That's really where you see a lot of like farm town, a lot of different experiences, because what you don't really realize is that between the rural and urban areas, there's such a different culture, there's such a different food and delicacies and what people really celebrate. And so from Colorado, I think around 2015, 2016, my family decided to stay over in the fabulous city of Las Vegas, Nevada. So it was really a difficult journey, to say the least, because it's a lot of moving around and a very, very arduous process. And sometimes, you know, you wish that some things would turn out different, but honestly, I'm just blessed to be here.
And you mentioned earlier, like, you know, so many different culture, even though in the state of Colorado. And so what was the key moment, or what are the key moments or challenges that you remember?
So definitely one of the key moments and challenges was speaking English. I know, like right now, I don't really have necessarily like a kind of lisp or some sort of thing restricting me from speaking the English language clearly, but that's because I studied very, very hard. I took a lot of ESL language classes, and unfortunately, because, you know, I didn't know how to speak a lot of English, you know, sometimes people wouldn't be nice. And so what I did to adapt was what my parents had me do was a bit of super difficult for them to do, was that they also had to learn English, and we had started speaking a lot of English in the house. And so part of like the Filipino language was kind of phased out. The only reason why I understand Tagalog or understand a part of like my motherland's language is because I watched a lot of teleserie when I was
Yes.
younger. Yeah.
And what is a sample of the teleserie that you watched?
A lot of Daniel Padilla.
Oh, then,
Yeah.
okay. And then you also, I'm assume that you're listening to songs also like original Filipino music.
Oh yeah, my mom listens to a lot of classics. Like of course, like I know. I mean, it's not OPM, but like Queen by ABBA from
Okay.
and
Yes,
a lot of.
70s. Okay. I love it.
But yeah, unfortunately, some of the names don't come up. But yeah, there's some beautiful songs in OPM, and I know me and my friends, we've created some playlists to kind of like celebrate our culture, because honestly, it's important to know where your identity is.
Yes, that's right. And I love how you give importance to your cultural, your Filipino identity. And yeah, you should share the playlist to me next. I would love to hear that. And then, so basically, your family had to adjust to a new country by adapting to the language. It's very hard. But yeah, seeing you right now, like speak, well, that's an achievement also, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was definitely incredibly difficult. It may not seem like it now, but I was incredibly shy because obviously you don't know the language when you come over here, and you're trying to look for people who are kind of very similar to you. And so what my family did was we tried to find as much pockets of Filipino like cultural groups as we can, whether that be through church or through work or through these social events. But just trying to find a sense of community, because I remember back then, like when Manny Pacquiao was still in his prime, we would watch Manny Pacquiao versus Canelo Alvarez, and those were good times because then we would, we get to drink around with family and friends. We'd have to share stories and also sing a little bit of karaoke and watch Manny just do his, magic.
Yes, Filipino celebrations, always
Right.
the best, right? With
Yeah.
karaoke,
Yeah.
you won't forget that, and Filipino food. And so, can you share what inspired you to become a U.S. citizen?
Yeah, so becoming a U.S. citizen, obviously there's a lot of benefits, but the main thing is that you get access to a lot of programs, but also being able to vote in the election and having a voice in what you can have within your community. I've seen a lot of things that should be changed, but not being able to do anything, as in the sense of like voting or contributing to actual like change. Of course, I did a lot of you can like volunteer to be a part of a political party and support whoever you want, but there's just no you don't get that feeling of like involvement unless you do have that ability to vote, especially in your local elections.
Right, and it's you said it earlier, it's having your voice heard and just being able to participate in civic engagement work. And at the same time, do you feel that there's now a sense of the sense of belonging and pride and accomplishment in pursuing citizenship?
Yes, there is, and it is a very long and arduous process. I'm sure a lot of people can attest to how very difficult that process can be and how heartbreaking it can be. But that's why I was so lucky to meet someone like Noel from ACDC, who was able to do these services for free and make sure I got connected to the right people. Because otherwise, I mean, there's some immigration lawyers who can do it for a pretty hefty price. And what about the people who don't necessarily have incomes or don't have incomes necessary to spare because they need stuff to feed their children or like for housing or for things that they need? How can they even get access to the social programs because they don't even have like a social security number, right? So it's incredibly important, incredibly helpful for people like ACDC to support not only just Filipinos, but the Asian community as a whole to, be better, to help each other, because that's where we are. I mean, in the Filipino culture, family is first, right? Family is definitely first. And so I'm glad that we still uphold those values, even here in America.
Yeah, and it's because of your parents who were able to instill that value also, and also with the other organizations, like the mission coincides with your personal values too. Would you say?
Right, right. It's definitely, I definitely attribute that to my parents because one really cool thing is we were honestly broke. My family didn't have a lot of money, and I didn't feel like that. I always felt like I always had enough to live, enough to be happy, enough to, go to school and be a part of a community that I didn't otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity of being in, right?
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that, and we really owe it to parents, and I'm glad, like, so heartwarming to hear that, your mga magulang mo really did a lot for you. So,
Right.
and you mentioned earlier, Noel from the Asian Community Development Council played a role in helping you navigate the citizenship process. So, what are the support that they provided?
So really, it's so cool, so cool. So I went to one of their workshops. While I do speak a lot of English, they have interpreters that they can have like attend with you. So if you don't necessarily know the English language, you can have someone who can help support you through the application process. But not only that, they have licensed lawyers who have been doing this for years and years, who've helped people get their green cards for years and years. So there's this experience, there's this backing, and honestly, I feel like more people should take advantage of it. So it's just a really, really great program overall that people should start being taken advantage of. And so, like, if you know, like, family or friends, I definitely kind of like spread the word, because you never know. You really, really don't know a person's situation unless they bring it up, right? And sometimes this is an incredibly sensitive topic, especially through citizenship. Some people can even find it shameful. So it's just a matter of spreading the word. It's just a matter of like letting them know that these resources are available to them so that they can take advantage of it themselves.
I completely agree with you on that. And in pursuing your citizenship, also, you did mention, did you experience like a financial barrier or any obstacles that might have you not pursue citizenship? Can you share if you have any?
Right. So at one point, my parents divorced, and so my dad had that student visa, and my mom didn't. And so we were at an impasse, and really what got us through it was my mom met this wonderful man, my stepdad, and they were able to, get connected and marry each other. And then my mom was able to stay here in the U.S. because honestly, like we said, right, Filipinos are family first. And like if my mom left for the Philippines, I honestly probably would have gone back with her. And so it's definitely it definitely wasn't the easiest, because at some point I just thought, there's some dangers to getting deported, right? And I was, and because of how well my family took care of me, I didn't even know, like, that's how the system worked. And so, ignorance is bliss. And so I went through high school, I went through middle school without knowing any of these things. But thinking about it now, I can only imagine what kind of stress that my parents were in, thinking that both of their children would lose the opportunity to stay here in America.
Well, thank you, Wyko, for sharing that that story with us, and how your family and you yourself also overcame it. So thank you for sharing it. And now that because of that, that motivated you to really pursue your citizenship. So
Yeah.
and congratulations, by the way, for becoming a U.S. citizen, and you'll be doing your oath ceremony December 12th.
December 12th.
So, how do you feel?
I feel so good. It's been a long time coming, and honestly, it doesn't feel any real. Because, right, back, like, I moved over here in 2008. It's now 2024. It's been over 15 plus years, over 10 plus years. such a blessing to be in the position where I am, to know that, I now have access to the social programs that the government will allow me to. I now have access to a lot of the things that other people won't have the ability to kind of access. For example, you need for FAFSA, which is the student aid for college students here in America, you need a social security number for that. And so for them to be able to, for the government to give you money to go to college, you need that social security number. You need that support because colleges are expensive. And the only way that you can kind of like break barriers or make sure that you're able to kind of support yourself and your family is to also get an education so that you can get a better job. And so I found that really, really incredibly helpful. And now my brother has the opportunity to do that, right?
Yeah. And you shared earlier, like, over 15 years, there's a lot of like opportunities and also challenges that you face. And I'm sure that you're incredibly, like you said, like grateful for just this opportunity to take. And we'll be happy to be there with you on the 12th. It's a very exciting time for you.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You're gonna have a huge celebration.
Oh, yeah.
Lot of like, you should do karaoke and then like a Filipino food, like a big celebration. You know how we do Filipinos do it. So
Oh yeah.
and Wyko, so you did mention earlier too about the having a Filipino value and how that your parents instilled that like the family comes first, right? And then were there any other cultural Filipino values that supported you through your journey of becoming a U.S. citizen?
Right. So one is to be incredibly empathetic. So to be able to care for other people, to kind of put yourself in their situation and make sure that you understand where other people are coming from. Because for one thing that we are known of, like Filipinos are incredibly hospitable. Like we're incredibly caring people. We're found in so many different fields where we have to take care of others. Like we're known for being nurses. We're known for being able to just make sure we're able to guide others, right? And so, yeah, I do a lot of volunteer work. I do a lot of support for the local community, even when I wasn't a citizen, because I knew that if you're able to give back, you're able to help someone who is in dire need. And so I just feel that the Filipino culture, the Filipino community was able to help instill those great values, able to make sure that, I had the drive to take care of other people. Because honestly, I don't see a fulfilling life without being able to be with those you care about and have them care about you too, right? And it's so incredibly important, especially in this technological day and age where you have that human connection, to make sure that you love others, but also having to feel that they love you back as well, right? Not just coming from your family, from friends as well.
And I believe that being empathetic and also the term malasakit, having the concern for others, and that's one of the greatest like Filipino value that all Filipinos share. So just having being patient and understanding and giving back. And maraming salamat pala for volunteering at our food distribution program. It's such an honor to have someone like you who have that sense of a big heart, sense of having selfless service to our community. So thank you for being in our food distribution program.
Of course, it's been an amazing pleasure, especially to give food to people who need it the most, right? You guys give like a pound of rice, meat, vegetables, and condiments on top of that. And I can't thank you more than enough, because there are definitely some communities here who need that help, who need some sort of programs to help not only just take care of themselves, but their kids as well, their future, right? So it's very, very important for us to not only just take care of ourselves, but if we are able to take care of others who are in unfortunate positions, because we're a community.
Yes, and it's also, called bayanihan. One of another Filipino value is that being able to help and support each other in a community. And thank you I mean, thank you for supporting organizations like ACDC in fulfilling its mission of, being of service to our community. And you did shared a lot of, what made you pursue citizenship, and also personally, can you share how will now it impact your future?
Oh yeah. So one, I plan on really encouraging a lot more political involvement in the Asian community. I want there to be a voice for what we want. I believe in the right that everyone should be able to vote for either side, right? Because your voice is incredibly important, and I want to make sure that not just Filipinos, but also all people from Asian cultures have some sort of say in the government that they live in and reside with.
Oh, thank you for sharing that also, and then having that value of making sure that all voices are heard, and advocating for that too. And so, Wyko, as we wrap up this episode, what is the best piece of advice that you can give to our kababayans who are, considering citizenship, or who may be on the fence of pursuing becoming becoming a U.S. citizen?
Right. So really one big word or piece of advice that I have for people is to ask for help. People are willing to help you more than you think they won't, right? And if you are on the fence, it's better to have that option than not to have that option, right? But there's a lot of resources around for you. There's ACDC, there's other different programs. Other people are always willing to help, because I believe that people are looking out for your own goodwill, and just being vulnerable in that moment to make sure, or to ask just who can help you out, is incredibly important, and will get you farther than if you did it yourself. Because we as a Filipino community, we've developed a great sense of familiarity with each other, and we're willing to support those who want that support, right? We can't lead a horse to water and make it drink. So
Okay, so thank you, Wyko. I love that advice that you provided our kababayan. So do not be ashamed to ask for help. If you need one, just ask someone and get the resources that you need. So if you are interested in taking the next step to becoming a U.S. citizen, we are hosting a citizenship clinic on December 14 at ACDC headquarters located at 3235 South Rainbow, Suite 101, 8946 zip code. And please call the ACDC office at 702-489-8866 to make an appointment. So again, maraming salamat, Wyko. I'd love to hear more about what you do for the community, not just volunteering work, but actually with working with organizations and church-based organizations too, in helping them with their financial resources, investments. So I'd love to hear more about it. And again, thank you for sharing your story today. So,
thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. All right. So abangan po ang aming susunod na episode. Hanggat sa muli.